Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm so glad you're here. On this channel, I talk about news, controversies, and drama on the bookish side of the internet, and I certainly hope you will stick around. With one gigantic exception, I've never really covered scammy editors, but that changes today. We're talking about Ashley Olivier, who operated under the company named Enchanted Author Services. You may notice that I use the past tense there, and that's because she's seemingly abandoned all responsibilities and clients that are counting on her. Unfortunately, by the time I stuck my nose into this situation, her website and most of her social media accounts has been deleted, but there's still quite a bit I do have to talk about, so let's go. So Ashley Olivier is a Louisiana-based author and editor who has been overpromising and under-delivering for quite a while now. She's published 3 YA fantasy books, and underneath the name Monique Stokes has 4 dark romance books. But editing seems to be where she makes most of her money and all of that. So the first thing I want to really speak on is her resume and experience. And so, disclaimer here, I'm not an author, nor am I someone who works in publishing or editing, so I'm not claiming to be an expert in any of this, okay? Cool? So first we see she's a member in good standing of ACES, or American Copy Editors Society, which is a legitimate organization. However, it doesn't require anything to join except for $100. They do offer some education courses and workshops, but being a member isn't an indicator of quality, is what I'm saying. Next, while I've learned that there is no actual degree or certificate required to call yourself an editor, most tend to have at least an associate's, often in English or journalism. Ashley does not currently have a college degree, but she's going for an anthropology and psychology double major and a double minor in literature and art history. And then she plans to transfer to a 4-year university to finish her bachelor's, master's, and PhD, which are absolutely excellent goals to have. But I personally think it's weird to put that on a resume when these things are not currently in progress. I doubt a prospective employer or client would look at this and be like, well, since she's planning to transfer to LSU for her PhD at some point, that credential stands. Like, I can't just say that I'm planning to get my doctorate at Harvard and then put it on my resume. Again, having big goals is great, but they don't belong on a resume if not actively in progress. And I'm sorry if I sound like an asshole. This just annoyed me. She has next listed her high school, which says she graduated in 2018, which I'm guessing would make her 25 or 26 now. So pretty young, which I don't mean anything by, except to say this, as noted, there isn't a special degree or anything required to be an editor, to call yourself an editor, which means a lot of your credentials are going to have to come from experience. And when you are 25 or 26, you just are not going to have as impressive of credentials solely because you just haven't been in the workforce that long. It's just, you just haven't. So now let's look at her work experience. So the first 2 things listed here are just her work as an author, writing and publishing her books. Then she lists Never and Ever Publishing, Silver Shell Publishing, and Midnight Tide Publishing as places she gets work as an affiliate editor, and Vibrant Designs LLC, where she's listed book editor as her role. I could not find anything at all about Vibrant Designs or Silver Shell online, and Never and Ever has a very uninformative website, and then the most recent Instagram post they have is from November 2025, so I don't know if the company's even still in operation. Midnight Tide seems to be the only one of these publishers with any kind of digital presence, and they actually operate as an author collective, which we can read about here on the FAQ page. Wait, you're an author collective. What is that? We are a group of authors that band together and help one another out. We are all self-published, pool our knowledge together, and often boost one another online as much as possible. There are typically several opportunities for cross-promotions to help gain eyes on everyone's work. An author collective is also known as a co-op publishing house. All our authors are self-published. This means that everyone is responsible for their titles from start to finish. Covers, editing, and formatting are all the author's responsibilities. As stated above, MTP is responsible for scheduling cover reveals and release dates. Does that mean you require dues? No, we don't require any of your money via royalties or dues. Are there in-house benefits like an editor or cover designer? No, but we have amazing editors who are affiliated with us and offer our authors a discount. So she's a freelancer that this company lists as a recommendation. And I want to be clear that I'm not suggesting there's anything wrong with being a freelancer or not having a degree or anything like that. I'm just trying to illustrate by going over her resume is that without real tangible examples of her work quality, you're just kind of going in and hoping for the best. I know that we all, of course, like want to put our best foot forward on resumes and like make ourselves look as good as possible. But hers is just not all it seems when you look into it further. That's all I'm trying to get at. I don't want to speak on her actual skill level because I have no idea how she is at it, but I think as a generalization, she's an example of how easy it can be to be scammed as an indie author because there's so many folks out here claiming to be editors, cover designers, author PR services, event organizers, etc. And there's no surefire way to determine their legitimacy. And I really hope this isn't coming off as elitist or anything like that. And if it is, I'm sorry, that this is truly not my intention. Anyways, let's move on about how I heard about all of this to begin with. So the first thread I saw was on May 17th by user on Threads Millennia. In my opinion, if you think your mental health is going to affect your work, quality, and/or deadline, you should offer a refund or pause payments immediately. Withholding or using someone else's money for your livelihood is unfair to the person hiring you to do the job. Your mental health does not justify it either. That money could have gone to someone else who could deliver the work on time, especially when publishing related dates have been announced. I am fucking fuming on behalf of my author. And then the author, who we'll later find out is the author in question. This book has been the worst release so far. I'm literally terrified for it. And she replies, we'll get through it together. Someone else says, is there a clause about legal action, late fees, or anything in the contract? And Millennia says, I think at this point they won't honor that either, not gonna lie, based on past experiences from other authors. Foreshadowing. Small claims court. It's about $45 to file in most states. Fees can be included in the demands. And then she said different countries, not sure if it's worth that, which is unfortunately often the case. So my nosy ass was intrigued as usual. I started digging for clues and couldn't really figure out who they were speaking of. And I actually had screenshotted some of the comments from this post and then kind of like set the whole thing aside because I didn't know who she was talking about. I didn't know if I was going to be able to find information. And I try to be like a little bit subtle. Like if someone's doing this, I'm not just like, oh, hey, tell me all your gossip. Tell me right now. I kind of like wait for it to evolve, wait for it to potentially come to me. Anyways, until I came across this thread that was reposted from February because it had started to see some new traffic, so I'm guessing that that is why it appeared on my feed. So this is by a user called author Azzy Drouch. I hate calling anyone out ever, especially fellow neurodivergent creators / authors. I hate drama, but enough is enough. I've given them plenty of time. Back in September, my editor canceled on me 3 weeks before release date because she had overloaded herself. She had no way to refund me either at that time, so I couldn't even find a new editor. It's been 18 weeks and I still have not been paid back fully after multiple promises to do so. Be careful working with Enchanted Author Services. And then she proceeds with quite a few screenshots. Settle in. On August 9th, Azzy says, it's hit, it's paid in full. Ashley said, awesome. August 10th, Azzy says, would you like me to send over what I have so far? And Ashley said, whenever you're ready is fine. Azzy says, okay, do you want me to send it in a Google Doc? And Ashley said, Microsoft Word is great. Google Docs is also fine. And then August 11th, later the same day, Azzy says, getting set up to send now. Go ahead and check when you are ready. Ashley says, hey, I didn't receive anything. Okay, I'll resend. Try now. Got it. Great. I'll continue to update each time I finish a chapter. 3 days later on August 14th, Azzy checks in. Hi, just checking in. Ashley said, everything's fine. I'll be editing in Microsoft Word. And Azzy said, that's fine. I was just checking in. 4 days later, Azzy said, I'll be adding more to the doc today. I'm getting closer. No reply. August 21st, she said, hi, LOL. August 27th, she said, finished and updated. August 28th, she said, hi, just following up to make sure you saw. That is 2 weeks after the last time she had replied to a message. Yes, can you email over the fully updated document? I can do that. Sent. Got it. Awesome. Cool. About a week or so later, September 3rd. Hi, hope everything is well. Just wanted to say thank you, and I hope you're enjoying the book as you are editing. And Ashley said, yes, I'm going to have everything to you this week. OMG, thank you. September 8th, Azzy says, hi, just checking in. Again, I'm so excited to be working with you. And then September 11th, she said, hi, good morning, just checking in. You can think that maybe this is a lot of checking in, but like, you're not hearing a peep from this person that has your money that's supposed to be checking in with you. So September 11th, so later that day, Hi, I'm running a little behind, but I'm trying to get these edits to you ASAP. Was dealing with some family stuff that delayed several projects, but I'm working to catch up. Okay, so recapping on this a little bit. On the 3rd, she says it'll be to you this week. And then exactly a week later, she says she's running behind. The phrasing she uses here, I'm going to have everything to you by the end of the week, sounds to me like everything is pretty much done, maybe like some small things left to finish. And maybe that's just my perception. But I would be assuming that things were moving along quite quickly. And so with this message a week later, I'd be feeling like, oh, okay, so like we're almost there, just a short little time left to wait. Okay, so Azzy says, thank you for letting me know. And then a week later, September 18th, hi there, I hope things are going well. I know you're behind, but I'm just checking in. And then Ashley said, hi, lovely. I'm working on your edits and a few others this weekend. For the delay, please allow me to do any further projects free of charge. This feels like a bizarre thing to say and like a bad business practice. I know she's trying to be generous, but like all future projects will be free. That doesn't seem like a good financial choice, but anyways. As he said, you're so kind. I hope you're doing all right outside of any project. A couple days later, Ashley replies, I'm okay. It's just been a lot mental health wise. I should have your completed edits by Monday/Tuesday. Spoiler alert, she didn't. September 28th. Hey, I'm just checking in. Hey there, on the 30th. Finally, that's when Ashley replies, hey, lovely, I really haven't been able to keep up with any of my work these past 2 weeks due to this new medication I'm on to cope with everything, as I can't eat and it makes me sleep constantly. I'd really be most comfortable giving you a refund. I'm taking less projects on. You guys know my thing about less and fewer, and so hearing that from an editor, like, yeah. I'm taking less projects on for the rest of 2025 and made an announcement on my Facebook and will be posting on IG shortly too. Azzy said, okay, that's fine. I was wondering if you got really anything done on my project at all, since this is putting me in a little bit of a tough spot. I'm so sorry with what you're going through and I hope things get better for you. Ashley said, I totally understand and I'm so sorry, but no, I didn't really get a good amount of work done. I'm really sorry. I know the tight spot this puts you in. So that completely contradicts what she implied a month earlier when she said she'd be sending the completed project within the next week. So, as he says, luckily some of the book has been edited before. Please do not worry too much. If it's okay, I'd like to see what you did get done. I understand you're going through a tough time. I am as well, and I do hope things get better. And Ashley said for the refund, I think it's also best if you do a chargeback so the money goes through faster. For the Invoice to Go app, it takes 5 to 10 business days for things to process after I request a refund. But if you ask your bank for a chargeback, they take the funds from me immediately. So, I mean, at least she's offering a refund here instead of completely ghosting, which is apparently the standard, and that's just very sad. But I can't figure out why she's suggesting a chargeback. I spent quite a lot of time trying to find a reason why that would be like the case, why that would be something you'd want them to do, and I really couldn't. It's very much advised to be a last resort only. So if anyone has any idea why that would be the case, because we're going to see it come up again, please leave it in comment and I will pin it because I am just very confused. So then Azzy says, I don't have a way to do a chargeback on my end. I sent most of the money through my Cash App and that would cause fees for you. I don't mind waiting for a refund. So nice. Ashley said, okay, I'll send them an email and request first thing in the morning during business hours. Azzy says, okay, thank you again. I hope everything gets better. And I still would like to see what you did get done if you don't mind emailing me. If you're not comfortable with that, I completely understand though. She didn't do shit, that's why. October 4th, she said, hi, just checking in. I don't know if there was more that's cut off, but I don't think nothing relevant at person. And Ashley said, hey there, I did reach out to them. I really do think a chargeback would be faster though. And Azzy said, hi, my bank won't let me dispute at least part of it because it's been too long. I was able to dispute a couple of them. Next day, my dispute was denied. Yeah, of course it was. And Ashley said, I never received anything on my end about the dispute, so I don't think they ever confirmed with me or my invoice app about the charges. And Azzy said, weird, yeah, it's been too long since, they said it's been too long since I paid. The 17th, so over a week later, almost 2 weeks later. Hi, I know you're probably super busy. I'm checking on when you think the refund might be here. Thank you. With a smiley face. Like, this is so kind and just patient. Same day, luckily, she says, hi, I'll call them in the morning during their business hours to see if I can get an update. And Azzy said, thank you, I appreciate you. A couple days later, on October 22nd, Ashley says, so now they're refusing to hold the money from my account like they usually do and want an immediate wire. I won't have that until I get paid. Would I be able to send you the money directly via Venmo or Cash App or Zelle? I get paid next week. So a full 3+ weeks after initiating for a refund and it's still not done. And additionally, I don't know what Ashley thought would happen here or if she was like just trying to buy herself time. But what she's essentially saying here is that she can't give the refund because she has no money. Truly a tale as old as time. We have seen that one before. Azzy comes back, yes, that's fine. We can do Cash App when you get paid next week. Thanks for keeping me in the loop. I appreciate it. Yikes. So October 31st. Please note, this is 9 days after Ashley said she would be getting paid next week. Hi, I'm not sure if you got paid yet, but I wanted to give you my Cash App tag. And it's there. I blocked it out. I should have just left it, but oh well. Next day, November 1st. Hi, just following up. And then Ashley replied, hey, I haven't gotten paid yet, but when I do, I'll make sure to pay you ASAP. And Ashley said, okay, thank you. No response for another 7 days. On November 7th, Azzy said, just checking in. On November 8th, Ashley said, hey, I'm sorry, I'm still waiting, lovely. If I have to, I'll do DoorDash to come up with the money. So I guess she still hasn't been paid. I don't know what type of work or what company she works for, but she really needs to inquire about this because a paycheck being over 2 weeks late isn't acceptable. Azzy says, I understand. Please keep me updated if you can. And then another 9 days later, Azzy asks, hi, I'm just checking in if you need to pay in parts. I'm willing to work on something like that as well. I understand if you haven't been paid yet. I'm just checking in. And Ashley said, let's do it in parts, please. I haven't been advertising for work because I don't feel comfortable taking on new clients until I'm caught up, so I haven't been receiving income consistently. Azzy is being far too understanding and patient. I mean, it's obviously very kind of her, but Ashley definitely seems to be taking advantage of it. I want to unpack this statement of hers real quick. She says, I haven't been advertising for work because I don't feel comfortable taking on new clients until I'm caught up. Yeah, so that actually should be a given, in my opinion. Don't continuously recruit for new clients if the ones that have already paid you aren't getting what they paid for. And then she finishes this by saying, so I haven't been receiving income consistently. Yes, when you aren't doing work, you often do not get paid for that. So then, as he said, I completely understand. Just let me know what you can pay and when. And on November 19th, Ashley said, I should have updates shortly. Azzy says, I appreciate it. Thank you. November 23rd. An entire month after Azzy agreed to wait for her refund, Ashley finally says she'll be sending it. I'm going to present the rest of these screenshots without comment until we're done. November 23rd. Hey, lovely. I should have the entire rest of the funds by tomorrow. Oh, that's amazing. Just let me know. Let me see, but I'll try. At least 300 to 400 minimum by tomorrow. Azzy says, don't stress yourself. I appreciate you, though. November 24th. Hey, so I did have a lot of bills, so let's do the payment plan. I can do 75 if that's okay just to start with. I know it's not the full amount, but I should have more by next week and hopefully the full balance by the end of next month. Hi, yes, that's fine. Later in the same day. Sends her Cash App thing again for when you need it. Next day, November 25th. Sending now. Got it, thank you. Sent, awesome. And Azzy says, just let me know when you send again and I'll confirm. Thank you. December 11th. I'm just checking in. Please don't feel pressured. I hope your week has been well. December 12th, Ashley replies, hey there, I just got a new job, so I'll be able to pay again very soon, probably next week. Azzy said, oh, that's awesome. Thanks for the update and congrats on the new job. December 30th. Azzy said, hi there, just checking in. January 1st. Ashley says, hi, lovely. I'm going to the mental hospital for a few days, but I'll be able to make a payment once I'm out. I'm really sorry. January 2nd, Azzy said, hi, okay, I'm sorry you're going through it. Hope you'll be okay. January 15th, Azzy said, hi, hope you're doing okay. January 16th, She says, hi. Ashley replies, hey, I have my discharge paperwork and can send it. Send her discharge paperwork? I'm finally back to work, so I should be able to pay in full shortly. As he said, I believe you. I was just checking in on you. I 100% believe you're going to pay me. I just wanted to tell you I understand mental health stuff, and I'm sorry you're going through that. So much kindness that is just wasted on this woman. February 3rd. Hi there. I'm just checking in. And then this is like around when these were taken, so I don't know like exactly a timeline, but that Wednesday, hey, we'll be sending a partial payment by the end of this week. Thank you. And then a couple days later, just checking in. The next day after that, hello. Hello, sending payment as soon as I'm paid by Stripe. Still waiting for it to go through. Okay, thanks. And then what appears to be, I don't know, maybe a couple of days later, hard to tell, like with the way it's screenshotted. Hi. And she said, hello, like I said, I'm still waiting to get paid. As soon as I am, I will send payment. Now, I am absolutely empathetic to Ashley's mental health problems, but we have seen this over and over again. And at this point, it had been a full 5 months since Azzy was told she would be getting a refund. She has been nothing but kind and patient and understanding when she had every right to be pissed as hell. And then Ashley has the audacity to send this message with this passive aggressive, like I said, thrown in there. Yes, I am adding that inflection, but that's what I'm reading it as. That makes me so annoyed, actually, and that was the last screenshot. So here's where the thread post picks back up. As he says, because Threads only allows parts, all this editor has done is give me $75 of what I'm owed. I don't want anyone else to get scammed. Please be careful. And then, you know, someone added some examples of good editors, I guess. And then, as he said, I also want to say, please don't go after this editor. I just wanted to warn others and be careful. And someone replied, have you ever considered taking her to court in small claims court or suing her for breach of contract? And as he said, no, it costs money to sue someone. And I don't live in the same state. So before this started gaining more traction, Azzy did actually post about it again on May 5th. So she said, hi everyone, just a reminder, Enchanted Author Services screwed a lot of authors over and even told us she wouldn't ask for anyone to take our opinions down, then did exactly that to me privately. I did get my money back. But I still feel very wronged, as do several other authors. If you're going to book with her, please be careful. And then there is the screenshot of her now deleted Instagram profile. And then once the post by Millennia got more views and linking back to this post, Azzy added this for further context. It says, by the way, after I said I forgave her, which I no longer do, she had the audacity to ask me to take this post down after saying publicly she wouldn't do so. And so this was back in February. We can sort of see, I think it says February 21st, whatever, it doesn't really matter, February. Azzy had said, I want you to know that I personally do appreciate and accept your apology. Thank you, and I wish you the best. And then Ashley said, would you be willing to take down the post? I understand if not, but it's really hurting my business. I understand these are the consequences of how I handled the situation, but I would deeply appreciate it just since it's going viral on Threads. And then she got blocked. And listen, I mean, I guess it never hurts to ask, but I think that's an unreasonable request. People should share their experiences with businesses that aren't on top of things. She couldn't even give a refund correctly. So let's take a look at some of the comments from Azzy's recent post when this all came back up. So someone named Sheila Rohr writes, said, I won a free editing service from them and they were supposed to send over the documents for the edit. Ghosted me and now their IG is gone. I'm so glad I didn't send them any pages. LJ Carey Books, who is another person that got very, very scammed here. Oh, they're still at it despite claiming they've taken accountability. Wonderful. Yeah, I'm very glad you didn't send them any pages. And Sheila says, nope, still at it. I'm glad I found your post because I had no idea. And so here's a screenshot from that conversation that Enchanted Author Services had messaged Sheila, hey, lovely, you won my giveaway, 15,000 words, line/copy edited free. And she said, oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to work with you. And Ashley said, woohoo, which month would you like to start? Sheila said, could we do July? My manuscript is done, but it's about to go out to my beta readers. And she gets that reply, sure thing, which section of the manuscript would you like me to edit? The first 15,000 words? Yes, please, that would be great. Totally, what's a good email? I'll send over a contract for the free edit. Perfect, my email is whatever. And then the next day, Sheila said, hi there, haven't seen the contract yet. Checked my junk, but I'm not seeing it. And that was kind of the end of that. But I did get confirmation from the person that posted this that this was about a month ago, even though we can't see the exact dates. That's what she told me. So here are even more folks in the comments of that with stories of their own. Sage Parker, author. I'm so sorry. She did the exact thing to A.N. Davis, author, except she extended multiple times and then failed to deliver and didn't even refund until A.N. took it to her bank. For me, I paid $1,300 upfront for copy line edits. She was late. Timestamps show she spent less than 2 hours on the entire 87K manuscript, day after it was due. And all she did was remove my M dashes. Lost out of $1,300. She is absolutely a scam and a huge red flag. Azzy replied, honestly, before today, I'd never heard of a poor experience with her. I'm really glad I made this post. So many authors have come out with similar experiences. And then Sage replied, I'm seriously so sorry. I make sure to warn as many people as I can to avoid her. I hope your bank can solve your resolution, or maybe she will finally do the right thing. It took me blasting her for AN to get her money back. And as he said, I did get my money back today. It's just not great that it took 5 months. Thank you for being here, though. So that, you know, at least a couple of people got their money back. Whit Jordan, author. She scammed me too, and I had to wait for an entire year to publish again because I had to save the money back up on a single mom salary that I lost. That's so sad. Author MJ Vale. I don't know if it would help and you may have done this, but have a solid contract. My editor always sends me a contract and it has worked for us. She's wonderful and timely. More on that in a little bit. And Davis, who was being spoken about earlier, yeah, it took me like 5 or 6 months to get all my money back, but I finally did. My bank gave me 3 of my payments, and after a lot of back and forth, she sent me my final payment. I can't believe she hasn't learned. She's making bank off scamming people. If you're overworked and failing this many authors, then stop taking on so many, or better yet, don't take any at all, because the little edits Sage got were trash. She went MIA on me completely for a good while before she finally responded. And that is why we have to keep talking about this sort of stuff. Too many folks are seeing like editing and event planning, being a PA, doing social media for authors, yada yada, as an easy way to like make quick cash. And then they get in over their heads and the clients are who ends up suffering, and it's despicable. And even if you're starting your business with the best intentions, it's going to catch up to you if you don't have the experience you need. Being an editor is hard. It requires specific skills. And when other people are relying on you, you can't be half-assing it. I know how authors talk about and feel about their manuscripts. There is a reason why we hear the phrase book baby. So for someone to be so careless with that trust an author's giving just riles me up. So here's another, Shadow Ravenwing 3. I've been silent about this editor because I didn't want to start anything, but now, woof. I hired them for a dev/copy/line/proof. I paid a $300 deposit in February for her to start work in September, even dropped the work off early and paid another $300. October comes and I haven't heard anything. I reach out and it takes a while, but they tell me they haven't even started the process. I waited a couple more weeks after her reply, after I communicated my deadline that I was going to miss if I didn't do something. I reached out to a buddy of mine who had used this editor and confirmed a lot of things. 1, their communication sucks, ghosting her nearly up to her book release date where her edits were magically done. 2, they often book more than what they can handle. I've seen a lot of their posts charging $250 for edits, which were major red flags after I book. I paid for a package that was around market. And 3, the quality was up for debate, especially when it came to the developmental edits. I'm not saying their edits suck, but perhaps rushed is the right word. Juggling so many clients, I don't think they can keep up, so they make up for it the best they can. I asked for a refund, which they said I'd have to do a chargeback because she didn't have the $600 some I paid her. I ended up only getting $300 back due to how long ago it was. I reached back out for the other $300 and still have not heard from them about it. I write this to say, check who you hire. And yeah, so it seems like her prices are extremely low, and that's kind of how she likely keeps getting clients. And I guess that's why she asks chargebacks, because then she doesn't like have the money in her account, but that still doesn't really make sense to me. Anyways, moving on. Ooh, yikes, I know this person too. I knew this day was gonna come. Tried working with them when I owned an editorial company years back, and I had to gently let them know we wouldn't be moving forward with a permanent contract. The work was not great, and I could tell by their Facebook posts that they were on a steep slope if they didn't change direction. I did honestly try to help, but they didn't want to hear it. I've been expecting posts like this to emerge eventually. Someone named Starbucks Stardust Book Services, don't know them, said, we'll just say we're not surprised. So while Ashley was completely dipping on her established clients, she was simultaneously signing new ones. This is an author named Samantha who contracted Ashley in March, and I actually have a copy of the contract. So let's take a look before we see what ended up happening there. So, Enchanted Author Services, this is an agreement between editor Ashley Olivier, operating in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, United States, and client Samantha, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know if she wanted me to cover that up, so I did. You know, there's their information. The parties agree as follows. Deadline. The agreed upon project will begin on March 13th, 2026 and continue until the project is completed within 2 to 3 weeks per edit, provided that all terms have been met for this agreement. So, like, one thing that I'm maybe making this up and it's just in my head and this is what contracts look like, but the fact that there are these like parentheses make me feel like it was supposed to be like, we'll begin on date and continue until the project is completed with like time frame, whatever. And then she just didn't delete the parentheses. Like, it's a form, and then, but she didn't make those changes, and it looks really weird. Maybe I'm the one being weird. I don't know. Statement of work. The editor agrees to complete discounted 2 edits as agreed upon. The editor does not agree to complete any additional services aside from the listed services above. If the client would like additional services, they must indicate so prior to the signage of this document. Otherwise, these additional services must be scheduled at a later date depending on the availability of the editor. Project description, number of words up to 100,000. Requirements from the client. To provide the agreed upon project on the agreed upon date, March 13th, 2026, to the editor, to pay all invoices on time within the payment schedule described. To adhere to the terms of this contract in full. Okay, easy. Requirements from the editor. To provide the agreed upon services within the agreed upon time frame, 2 to 3 weeks per edit. Or inform the client if an extension is required due to circumstances outside of the editor's control. To maintain confidentiality for the mentioned project in this contract unless otherwise indicated by the client. To respect the copyright for the mentioned project in this contract. Okay. Delivery of product. If this agreement is signed and the editor has received your payment of $166.67 USD by February 18th, 2026. You see what I mean with the parentheses? It's so weird. The editor will schedule your project for March 13th, 2026. If the project has been sent by the client to the editor on March 13th, 2026, the editor will begin the project and have it completed within 2 to 3 weeks per edit in the following format: Microsoft Word document with tracked changes. 2 to 3 weeks, you say? The editor cannot be held responsible for deadlines missed due to circumstances completely out of their control, such as dire family emergencies, floods, wars, act of God. Please note that these are only examples. The editor agrees to inform the client in writing if they need an extension on the agreed-upon turnaround time. The editor's editing of your work is not a guarantee that it will be accepted for publication. Okay, I assume that is, like, pretty standard. AI notice: under no circumstance will the editor use AI tools to edit the manuscript. This document is to be edited via tracked changes in Microsoft Word without the help of AI materials and assistance. In addition to this, the editor refuses to accept any work that has been written with the help of AI. No exceptions will be made. Okay. Payment. The agreed upon fee of $500 USD is to be paid by the client in the following manner: $166.67 USD by February 18th, 2026 as a non-refundable deposit, $166.67 USD by March 13th, $166.67 when the second edit begins. Warranties. Editing is a process of offering advice and suggestions to the client. I assume that that is also just like a standard kind of thing. Modifications. As noted previously, any modifications to this agreement must be acknowledged and agreed upon by both the client and editor in writing. And then the last page is just a signature page. So I'm sure you know where this is going and can infer that Ashley breached the contract all over the place, but let's look at this from the beginning. This is in February, you know, at the same time she's already like ghosting and like stringing along Azzy. Hi, I'm interested in getting editing services done. Are you interested in editing sci-fi/apocalyptic novels, or do you mainly work with other genres? That sounds amazing. I'd love to work together. What month were you interested and in which services? And Samantha said, I'm interested in the line/copy editing and developmental edits. If you have any spots left in March, I would be interested, but I'm completely flexible. Ashley said, sure, I could do March. The deposit would be $166.67 to book. What's a good email I can send over a contract? And then she gives it. Got it. We'll send the contract shortly. For payment, I take Venmo, Stripe, or Chime. And Samantha, okay, perfect. As soon as I sign the contract, I'll Venmo you the deposit. What is the account I should send it to? Sounds good. Also, I do have some space later this month, actually, since a client rescheduled to a later date. Would you like me to start sooner? She says, I'll leave that completely up to you. I'm good with starting this month or next. Okay, I'll set the start date for this Friday. It'll be 2 payments to start then. So combined, that's $333.34 due by the day we begin. Let me know if that's all right. The final payment would be when we do the second edit. Turnaround is 2 to 3 weeks per edit. Otherwise, we could do a later date, $166.67 as a deposit, $166.67 on the day we begin, and $106.67 as final payment. I don't know if this was her trying to get more money up front. She's like, oh, we can start right away, because she wanted her to pay for like both of those at the same time. I don't know. Speculation. Sadly, I think we'll have to start at a later date then. My little sister is getting married this summer, so funds are being strictly managed. I can totally do the deposit, though, to get things locked in. And Ashley said, that's fine, let's do March. I'll send a contract shortly. So she sends it, and there gives her Venmo. Just signed and sent the deposit over. Let me know when you get it. And she got it. Okay, perfect. I'll send you the Word version on the 13th, correct? Yes, that's right. Sorry, just now seeing this, whatever. Perfect. I'll send over the manuscript and payment. If you can't start till tomorrow, that's fine too. And Ashley said, awesome. So excited to dive in. Samantha is excited, so nervous, whatever. We don't hear nothing else until April 4th. Hey, I know you're still working and that's totally fine. I was just wondering if you wanted me to send the third payment over or wait until you're done with the first edit. Ashley said, it's up to you. And Samantha said, okay, I just sent that, so it's taken care of. The 14th, 10 days later. Hi, I just want to follow up. Were you going to do both edits and then send it over? It's been over a month, so I just wanted to make sure if you did send anything, I'm not missing it. And then Ashley said, hey, lovely. I should be sending the first edit this week. I'm so sorry I'm behind. It'll be 1 edit and then you review changes and then I'll do the second edit. No, that's totally fine. Just wanted to make sure you didn't send it, but I was missing it. May 1st. So yeah, like half a month later. Hey, I just wanted to check in. I know you're busy, but it's been a while since I've heard anything. Ashley said, hey, lovely. I'm still working on yours and a few other edits over the weekend. I'm so sorry again for falling behind. My schedule is really turned around right now. And Samantha said, you're totally okay. I've seen your posts, so I know you're swamped. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Please take all the time you need. And then I don't know what day this was, but later. Hey, girl. Not sure if you saw my email. Just wanted to check in and see how things were going. I hope you're doing well. And then things went over to email briefly. So on Tuesday, May 5th, Ashley replied, hello, I wanted you to reach out so you know I hadn't forgotten about you. I've been dealing with a lot of family issues that have put me very behind on my work on several projects. I genuinely thought I had reached out sooner, and I'm so sorry I failed to do that. I don't want you to think I'm ghosting you. I can have these edits to you by next week. And for the inconvenience, I can offer the next several projects free of charge. Honestly, indefinitely. I know being late on deadlines really put you behind, and it's unacceptable, and I'm so sorry for that. With everything going on, I've really been struggling with work, but it's no excuse. So she knows that that is not okay, and we can see that here. That was on May 5th. Please remember this date for later. Same day. It's honestly perfectly fine. I've been so busy doing stuff for my sister's wedding, I haven't been too focused on this project. Please take all the time you need, and if you need to take longer, just let me know. Just as long as the communication is there, I'm totally fine with whatever you need. And then didn't hear anything back on the 21st. She says, hey girl, hope you're doing well. I know you're working through everything you still have contracted. I just haven't checked in a while. Let me know when you can. That last email was sent just over a week ago, and that's where it ends. It is truly remarkable the lack of accountability people have. So remember on May 5th when Ashley sent a very truthful and not at all manipulative email asking for Samantha to be patient and understanding? Well, she just so happened to make this post on May 9th in a group called Editors for Hire. It says, bringing back packages. Includes 500 to 100,000 words. Includes 50 to 100,000 words. Payment is split in 3 installments, with a third due as a deposit, a third due when we begin, and a third due before the final work is released for the overall package. The more words you have, the more you save. Member of ACES, the Society for Editing, full-time editor since 2019. International best-selling author with 2 pen names. Experience working for 5 publishers. Currently in university for my BFA. Want to see my previous work? Check out my Instagram page. I post books I've worked on there and tag the authors, so feel free to contact any client. It's a bold thing to ask people to do with her history. Need to make sure we're a good fit? Let's do a sample edit. Email me up to 1,500 words and I'll take a look within 48 hours. Ready to take your book to the next level? Send me a message. And then she lists her contact information. And I mean, like, this was May 9th. I just want to reiterate that. Here's another one from May 8th in a different group. Manifesting new book editing clients. Hi, I'm Ashley, and I still have one spot left for May. June onwards is pretty open. I offer packages to help make things more affordable for 50 to 100,000 words. Payment plans available. Check out my Instagram page to see my previous work. Ready to do this thing? Be prepared for an editor with no filter. Loves spice, is a little crazy for dark romance. No triggers and loves a sprinkle of sci-fi, of fantasy or sci-fi. Not to mention your bestie has ADHD. Ah. And this is nothing. She is making these solicitous posts daily in several different groups, yet has no time to do the actual work for the clients she's recruiting. I want to have empathy for whatever she says is going on, but that only extends so far, and by continuing to look for clients, she clearly does not care about the contracts she has in place with people. So I'm not sure if she just had an extremely quick change of heart or what, because the very next day after, some of that was made, she made this post on Facebook. I cannot take this anymore, I'm sorry. After I ship out the books I sold over the weekend and sell what I need to on Marketplace, I'm deleting my social media accounts. You can reach me via email at blah, blah, blah. I wasn't trying to scam anyone with my editing services. I've had this business for 7 years. Half my family died back to back. I had no health insurance, PTSD, I was suicidal. So much happened and no one cared. I couldn't get a day off. I fell behind on work, needed extensions, things fell through the cracks. I did my best. I can't take this anymore, and I'm so sorry, but for my sanity, I cannot do this. Even if I wanted to drop everything and refund people, I have no money to do so. I have no choice but to finish the projects I currently have. I communicated every time I needed extensions, and it was never good enough. The amount of overwhelming hatred I've faced online, even though I've only ever had a bad experience with 6% of my clients out of 500 in 7 years, is insane. One viral post ruined my career. I can't do this. I'm sorry I've disappointed people. I'm sorry. So I don't want to come off as completely insensitive, but this is a really shitty post to make. I am sorry her life is not going great, but that shouldn't be the problem of those people who paid her for a service. I don't understand how she can possibly say she communicated when she needed extensions, because we've seen here clear as day that that's not the case. And then she follows that up by saying it was never good enough. Girl, what do you want from people? To just completely let you off the hook while you keep their money? Because even if she didn't intend to scam anyone, I truly can't wrap my head around her still looking for clients. And to me, that's what screams scam more than anything else. Getting in over your head and then continuing to dig yourself deeper. And tell me if it's just me, but is a lot of this post phrased really strangely? Half of my family died back to back. What? Half of your family died back to back? I have no choice but to finish the projects I currently have. Yes, please finish those. Why would that be a choice you wouldn't want to make anyways? She's had a bad experience with 6% of clients. Where did that number come from? What is she trying to say here? Maybe this is just how she talks, and I don't know this because I can't see much of her stuff because everything's deleted, but this just feels like something is off. So here is what she posted over on Instagram. This is from Enchanted Author Services. I've considered making this post for years, and I've really struggled with bringing myself to finally pull the plug on a business I've given so many years of my life to. 7 years, countless hours, countless late nights. Working myself to the bone, even at the bedside of my dying relatives, just to make deadlines. Hundreds and hundreds of clients. No other job has ever destroyed my mental health like this. I have been hospitalized 6 times for wanting to unalive myself since 2022. I started self-harming in 2024. I have allowed myself to work for less than $5 an hour for months on end. I've had to overwork myself just to make ends meet. This is how I pay my bills. The number of times I've had to beg to be let out of a psych ward early so I could meet deadlines is embarrassing and shameful. I can no longer afford to survive and have had to have relatives help with my bills. This is not sustainable any longer, and I cannot do this anymore. I used to be able to make more than enough, but now it's a race to the bottom with prices. I used to believe in this community with all my heart, but now I dread opening this app every day. I'll be fulfilling my current editing obligations and contracts, but I am shutting down this business and very likely deactivating this account within the next week. You can all reach me by email. I'm tired of having mental breakdowns over this job. Now, you are more than welcome to disagree, but I call bullshit on all of this. To start with, I maintain my belief that she's no older than 26 because this reads very young. She keeps speaking about how horrible things have been for her, and yet she's soldiered on with her business, even when she wanted to die and was working for less than $5 an hour. Who sets your prices, girl? I mean, at the risk of sounding like I'm telling her to pull herself up by her bootstraps, if your job isn't paying your bills, you might need to look for an additional job. Or just get a job where others aren't relying on you personally so much. I also think it's worth a reminder that she is an author herself. She's asking for sympathy and grace from like her community while actively making life harder for other authors. It's more than just taking their money and not delivering. By disappearing and putting it on the authors to reach out for updates, it shows a huge lack of integrity, and authors are being forced to find new editors extremely close to their release dates and then also find more money to pay them, since apparently Ashley's bills are more important than everyone else's, and she spent your money well before completing the work. In just the past 48 hours, I've been sent a lot of screenshots and stories of other authors who got scammed by her, but I just want to share a few more because sadly, she doesn't even change her game. It's just the same story with all these authors, so it would be almost like telling you the same story over and over. And she knows people are onto her. I was sent this exchange from an author who signed up with her last October and even reached out first to get reassurance on a rumor she heard, and yet she still got screwed over. This person reached out to Ashley on October 9th. Hi, Ashley. I just want to let you know that I had an author reach out to me and send me this information. And then this is just a copy paste. It took me a second to figure out what exactly happened, but this is just a copy paste that this author received. Hi, I know this is random. I'm sorry. I just feel like I need to at least let you know I worked with Enchanted Author Co. for my developmental edit, and she requires a deposit at the time of signing and on the day of service. However, I paid in full and never received my edit. In fact, I was ghosted. Not sure if you've worked with her before, but I just wanted to save anyone before they got in too deep. And then Ashley replied and said, hey, lovely, which author was this? There were some projects I did have to cancel due to some mental health reasons, but I did end up scheduling refunds for those clients. I'm currently taking on less work for the rest of 2025 due to that, and I contacted all clients whose projects had been affected. They have asked me to keep them anonymous. I can understand that. I'm just wanting to make sure that once I do make that final payment tomorrow, that I will get my book back edited as promised. I'm sure you can understand why I'd be concerned now. Of course, and if for any reason I'm not able to finish, you would get a full refund. That's always been my policy, but we can cancel if you're not comfortable moving forward. We can move forward. I had one person recommend you and one tell me not to work with you, so the decision is mine in the end. So, I mean, I respect that. She was like, hey, do you want to address this head on? And she got what seemed like a reasonable answer. We don't victim blame over here. And that definitely feels like, I mean, she's giving her the benefit of the doubt. I feel like most of us would do that. So then she sends her $170. Final payment has been made. Please let me know how you'd like the final sent. And then Ashley says, got it. If you can send via Gmail, please. And then gives it for sure as a Word doc. Yes, please. All right. So then October 10th, got it. Finishing my last read now and I'll send it over. Ashley said, got it. I'm so excited to dive in and start. And then our author said, I'm so nervous. Like, what if you hate it? I'm sure I'll love it. October 11th. Hi, did you start reading? No rush. I'm just anxious. October 12th. Ashley said, hi, lovely. I really hate that. Anyways, I'm wrapping up another project I have due this evening, and then I'll be jumping into yours. October 22nd, 10 days later, author sends a little SpongeBob little meme and says, how's it going? And then on October 30th, another week later, good afternoon. Just want to see how it was going with the editing. And Ashley said, hey, lovely. It's going fine. I should have edits to you by next week. Yay. Do you think she did? Do you? November 12th. Hi, hun, just checking in. November 16th, Ashley said, hey, lovely, I'm still catching up. I'm so sorry for the delay. November 28th, our author says, "Good morning. I'm wondering if I can get my book by the end of the month. My second editor is set to review it in December and needs some time to make changes as well. Please let me know. Thank you." November 30th, 2 days later, "Hey lovely, I do need a little more time if that's okay, but I should be able to finish in time for them to review by December." January 1st. "Hi, so it's now past December. Can I please have a logical reason as to why you have not been able to deliver at the time you said? What progress have you made on editing my book?" And then the same day later, Ashley said, "I'm sorry, I've been dealing with a lot of mental health issues and am currently on my way to the psychiatric hospital for a hold. I've been trying my best, and I'm sorry I haven't been able to finish. I think a refund would be best at this point. If you file a chargeback, it would go through sooner. I won't be reachable while I'm in the hospital." Why is no one stepping in? From what she says, her struggles are very clearly intense. Where are her friends and family? I am personally quite skeptical that everything she claims to have happened is true, and I kind of feel bad saying that, but she's proven herself so untrustworthy and just strings people along. Other people's struggles matter too. And it feels like as soon as anyone approaches her with any kind of like more serious or firm tone, she's off to the psychiatric hospital. There's just only so many times you can use these same excuses. And one other thing that I think is worth mentioning is that she has another account called the Crazy Cat Editor. The Instagram is now deleted, but the website is still up, so I don't know exactly what the situation is here. Like, why did she have two editing businesses to begin with? Very strange. Clearly the same person, and she was actively operating under this name at the same time as Enchanted Author Services. So I'm truly stumped on this. Let me know your theories, or if I'm like missing something completely obvious. I don't know. I'm going to wrap this up with a clip from a TikTok our friend Azzy posted, because there's one thing that I really think needs to be emphasized.
I gave her way more than enough time. So I keep messaging her, reminding her, hey, you need to pay me back. It takes me 4 months to get even a tiny bit of my money back. $75 is what I got back first. I pay way more than $75, by the way. That's insane. So eventually, after I'm starting to notice this is way beyond measure, I talked to some friends. They're like, you need to call her out on social media. So I do. 4 hours after I post that, I get a full refund.
That part. All it took was her being called out on socials to give a refund, which means she has some money somewhere. But only when it starts affecting her business does she do the right thing. Now, Azzy did say that Ashley had told her she took out a loan to get that money, but I don't believe that for a single second, sorry. Here's the rest of this clip I want you to see.
And what proceeded to happen after that is over 30 authors come out with the same exact experience over the past 4 years. Post blows up. Thousands of people see it all over TikTok and Threads. Sorry, not all over Threads. And then she starts making non-apologies on her social media. And every single person that says that they have not received refunds and stuff, she's berating them and being really rude to them in the comments.
That is just a clip of Azzy's video, so I will link the whole thing. It's about 5-ish minutes long, but I'll link that in case you want to see the rest of the video. For better or worse, I don't think this is the last time we're going to be discussing Ashley Olivier, as people are still coming out with their similar experiences. And as this all blew up so recently, maybe eventually we'll get things from Ashley's side, but I don't think that will change anything, because the evidence is pretty clear that she's a scammer. She might be a scammer with mental health issues, but she's still taking money from people and not delivering what was promised, and that's never okay. So let's talk about today's indie author, and it's an extra exciting one. This is UK-based author T.G. Campbell, author of the Bow Street Society book series. 7 of the 10 books in the series have already been published, as well as 7 additional short story collections in the same world. The Bow Street Society is a fictional group of amateur detectives operating in Victorian London. Each of its civilian members has been enlisted for their unique skill or exceptional knowledge in a particular field derived from their usual occupation. Members are assigned to cases by the Society's clerk, Miss Trent, based upon these skills and fields of knowledge. Each book in the main Bow Street Society mystery series has a standalone mystery, but there's also a major plot arc that develops throughout the series about the true identity of the Society's founder, as well as some character subplots. The books are character driven and rich in historical detail that transport the reader back to 1896-97 London. In addition to her writing career, TG also hosts a YouTube series called In Conversation With, and I was so honored to have been asked to participate. The episode is currently live on her channel, which I will link up here and I will link in the description. But here is a quick little clip.
A lot of your videos I really enjoy because they are very balanced and they're very sort of, you don't feel as though you're putting across this content just purely to just have like clickbait just for your channel. You do feel like you get all sides of the argument. You put all the evidence across. How easy or difficult is it for you to find evidence of the controversies that you are sort of featuring on your videos on the internet? And how do you know that it's not just somebody with vendetta just trying to like smear somebody's reputation?
Mm-hmm. I would say it kind of depends on the video whether or not it is difficult. I have a lot of kind of like beginnings of video. And so, like I said, I know I have my systems, and then from there, in my notes app where I write all of this down, I have a bunch of like beginnings, I guess, of like scripts of topics that never go anywhere because I can't find enough like reputable sources, or it just kind of depends on the topic.
A lot of them
I feel
also
like
are quite ongoing as well, aren't they? You visit
yeah.
a few things quite often, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of things it's just some like little kind of thing I'll come across, and then I'll start to like look into it further, and there's like this whole history. And so a lot of times scroll like I'll be able to like type it into Google or Threads or whatever, and there's someone with a long thread from 2 years ago talking
Yeah.
about this company. And then a lot of times I'll reach out to them even if it's been a while, and they're still like, "Oh yeah, let's talk."
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of
Like,
that's a lot of the way.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So definitely go check out our channel and our interview. Definitely take a look at the Bow Street Society series. All of that will, of course, be linked down below. And if you'd like the chance to be a featured indie author on my channel, there is a form linked in the description as well. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would. Check out my Bindery page if you'd like to support me over there. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!